Hello everybody, I am Anadia-chan, and today I am going to be answering a Q&A I posted on my DeviantArt, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Okay, so the first question is, what do you like more when it comes to doing your drawings? Working with pencil and paper or working in Photoshop, and why? That is a very good question, and it kind of depends on what I want to do. So I would definitely say my comfort zone is working with pencil or pen on paper, but I definitely like doing more of my original drawings in digital art, so it kind of just depends. If I'm doing a portrait or something from a reference photo or something from real life, I definitely prefer pencil. It's just that's what I like doing. If I'm doing like a fantasy scene or something that's got like a background, I definitely like Photoshop or digital. I feel like my vision can be reached better sometimes with digital art, especially with color. Whereas if I want something that's, you know, a nice beautiful portrait, you know, in black and white, I definitely opt for pencil, which is my comfort zone. So, okay, next question is, how do you transfer/translate skills between traditional and digital art? They are so different. And so that actually kind of relates to the previous question. So I guess honestly you kind of have to develop skills for both because they are very different. And so, I mean, for one thing, you can't really erase as much with, you know, if you're painting or drawing, whereas with digital art, you know, you've got your layers, you've got warp tools, you can change things around, you know. And so the skills required for digital art and for traditional art are definitely very different, and they are skills that you have to develop independently. Though as an artist, using both will, of course, you know, make you a better artist. So it kind of just depends, because I feel like I'm a very good traditional artist, whereas my digital stuff, especially my original stuff, is not nearly as good, I think. So yeah, you definitely have to develop different skills. So if you are a traditional artist and you are trying to work toward digital art, it's definitely something new you have to learn. It's a new skill. So while as an artist you might have your just ability or natural abilities as an artist, you're going to have to work on new things as a digital artist. So I hope that helps. Okay, next question. I'm very hesitant to do this, but more than one person requested to see my old artwork. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you my old artwork, and I'm going to cringe the whole time. But yeah, enjoy. Okay, next question. What do you like to draw most? There are two things I definitely like drawing the most. The first is video game characters, particularly Final Fantasy and Legend of Zelda. Those are my two favorites. So I definitely enjoy drawing those, especially the Final Fantasy characters. I would eventually like to have a portrait of at least like every main Final Fantasy character available in the future, so we'll see how that goes. And then the second thing I like drawing most is like my own fantasy characters. So I'm definitely a fantasy artist, but those are the two things that I like drawing most. Okay, the next question is, do you do pencil sketches on your pen drawings before you ink them, or do you just do it? So I actually do both. It kind of depends on whether it is planned or not. So for some of my pen sketches, I will just kind of start doodling and it just happens. Whereas if I decide, okay, I'm gonna do this in pen, I want it to look all sketchy and cool, and I will actually do a pencil sketch beforehand and get it all planned out and like have, you know, have my shape and my outline and like where the eyes are, and then I will do a pen sketch on top. So I do both. It just depends on whether it's planned or not. Okay, the next question is, what would you say your weakness is when it comes to making new art pieces? I would definitely say that my weakness is backgrounds. I have really hard time with backgrounds, especially with digital stuff, especially if I don't have a reference. So I'm working on it. I'm very well aware that that is my weakness, so I try to do backgrounds more. I am trying to incorporate them into my art, even if they are just simple backgrounds, because I know I need to work on them. So yeah, that's definitely my weakness. I'd also say that dynamic character poses, like you know, from different angles, or you know, really cool action poses, I definitely have some problems with. So when I'm having difficulty coming up with a pose, I will actually set up my camera and take pictures of myself doing these crazy poses, trying to get like a good action pose. So I know that that's one of my weaknesses as well. Okay, the next question is, what is a good program to use if you are completely new to digital art, and where would you find tutorials for it? So I haven't used a whole lot of digital art programs. I've used Paint Tool Sci and Photoshop, and I tried one called GIMP for a while and I didn't really like that. But for a new digital artist, I definitely recommend Paint Tool Sci. It is a program that is designed specifically for artwork and painting and drawing, and it's especially good for like the anime and manga style that a lot of people do. I don't know, it doesn't have as many options as like Photoshop, but unlike Photoshop, like I said, it's designed for painting, whereas Photoshop is designed for photos and can be used to paint. So Paint Tool Sci is really easy to work with. It's got like the layers, and it's got a few adjustments you can make, and it's got like a transform tool, whereas Photoshop has got way more effects, but it takes a while to learn how to use all of them. So Paint Tool Sci is also fairly cheap. I think I bought mine for like $50, and you can re-download it more than one time. So if you get a new computer, you can keep like the access key that you buy and re-download it. So that's fairly useful. And yeah, I think I got it for like $50, and it's yours for life, so you don't have to re-buy it, you don't have to do a subscription, nothing like that. And it's very easy to use. There are other programs I know of, like Coral Painter and Manga Studio, I think, but I haven't tried them, so I have no idea if they're good or not. But Paint Tool Sci is definitely an easy one to work with, so that's what I personally recommend. And then if you really get into digital painting, Photoshop is a very good one. I use Photoshop a lot, so I like both programs. And finding tutorials, it's kind of, I don't know where really to find tutorials other than like DeviantArt and YouTube, but if you just like type in Paint Tool Sci tutorial into like the DeviantArt search engine or into the YouTube search engine, you should be able to find quite a few. There are lots of speed paints, lots of tutorials available, especially through YouTube, that are completely free and really helpful. So I hope that helps. Okay, next question is, what inspires you the most with art? I definitely get a lot of my inspiration from fantasy, from books, from video games, from anime or TV shows that I watch. I'm heavily inspired by mostly video games and books. Those are my two things. And of course my imagination, but what inspires me and what drives me the most is definitely fantasy. So, how did your love for Final Fantasy start and your mild obsession with lightning? So, first question, I want to say that I was like 6 or 7, and my aunt got Final Fantasy X for Christmas, I believe. And at the time, my mom and I were living with my aunts and her mother, and it was one big family. But so my aunt started playing Final Fantasy X, and I would watch, and I totally fell in love with the story and the characters. And for like 6, 7-year-old me, that was like, I don't know, a really big deal. I was really starting to get into fantasy and starting to get into video games. I'd played games like Legend of Zelda already, but Final Fantasy X was like my first like obsession when it came to video games. I loved Final Fantasy X. So I ended up playing it and then getting a copy for myself and playing it over and over and over. So yeah. And then, well, okay, my obsession with lightning started when I was about, I don't know, I want to say 16, 17 years old. This is actually a little bit more personal. On my 16th birthday, my best friend at the time really hurt me. It's a very long story, but I had some serious trust issues after that, and I would say that after that I really changed, and I was very much like lightning, very unemotional, very just, yeah, I was a lot like lightning. So when I got Final Fantasy 13, I really related to her as a character, and she kind of almost became my role model. I really liked Lightning because she just, I saw myself in her. And so that is how my mild obsession with lightning started. And as the years went by, I mean, I don't think I'm quite as emotionless as I was then, but Lightning has always been a character I've really liked. I think she's beautiful and strong, and so I really enjoy drawing her because I understand her as a character. So, okay, next question. I have gotten this question a lot, especially on my YouTube videos, and a lot of people have asked me what I use to blend, or how I make like skin and stuff so smooth. And my answer is paintbrush. This is my secret tool. It's very soft and easy to clean and wash and everything. And so it picks up the graphite and distributes it very smoothly. So this is what I use for blending. I also have like smaller ones for little tiny detailed areas. But especially for skin, for really smooth, big areas to blend, I use a paintbrush, and it creates a very nice, smooth blend. So, and another question I get asked a lot, especially on my YouTube videos, is what I use for hair, or what is that white pencil thing that you use for your hair? And this is my weapon of choice. This is a Faber-Castell pencil eraser, and so basically it's got, instead of lead, it has an eraser in the middle, and so you can sharpen it, and so it's a nice pencil. I use it especially for hair. It creates nice little individual strands that I can create on top of the hair after I've already drawn it. It also is great for, like, you know, for highlights, or, you know, like the little area in your eye or the actual eyes, or so yeah, this is like one of my favorite tools. It's a pencil eraser. It makes detailed erasing super easy. Okay, last question is, have you been to art school or have you taken art classes? The answer to that is no. I have not taken a single art class in my life, not unless you count like second grade maybe. I think we had like an art class, but I think we made like little like clay sculptures. Yeah. Anyway, no, I have not been to art school. I am 100% self-taught. I started really taking my art seriously like 3 years ago, maybe almost 4 years ago. It's when I joined DeviantArt and I really started trying to get better at artwork. So yeah, so I have not been to art school. I really want to go to art school, and I probably will eventually. A few people have told me, oh, you don't need art school, but I feel like I do, especially if I want to get like a degree and work for like a big company or something. So my dream job is to work like for Square Enix or something as a concept artist, so I don't know if that'll happen. I'd have to learn Japanese, but we'll see where that goes. So anyway, that's it. Thank you for all your questions. If I get enough questions, I will do one more Q&A video. So if you have questions, comment them down below or on my DeviantArt. I will be doing a critique video next. So I've gotten a few critique requests, and that's basically I will take an art piece done by you and I will go over it and just point out what I would do to improve it. So if you would like a critique, please comment down below or on DeviantArt and say critique please, and I will include it in my next video. So thank you for watching. If you are feeling particularly generous, you can support me on Patreon, which is linked down below. Every dollar counts. If you don't know how Patreon works, it is a really great site where you can fund artists and musicians and creators, and I really like it. I think it's a very great way to help support artists. So if you would like to support me, I really appreciate it. So thank you.